guest for today is Filipino nurse John dela Cruz, or Nurse John to his followers on social media. In this episode, he shares how he uses his popularity to inspire and encourage nurses all over the world. Hi, Nurse John. Welcome to Stronger Together, the GMA Pinoy TV podcast.
Hello, and thank you so much for inviting me here. I'm so excited to be with you here today and talk about everything and anything.
You are a nurse in Canada, and you have this huge following on social media because of your viral videos. How are you taking all this in, like this instant celebrity status?
Honestly, it was never planned for me to, post any video or even go viral on the internet. It was when I graduated in nursing during the peak of the pandemic, when I started working as a nurse, because I did nursing here in Canada too. So what happened is I was looking for some type of community online or somewhere where I can feel like I belong, but I didn't have that support system or environment around me. Then TikTok was then getting famous on those times. There was this time where a guy was asking, can you tell me a profession which is underpaid, undervalued, underappreciated? So I stitched myself. So that's a new thing in TikTok before. Stitching another video, putting it on your video. You know when you make a video and you didn't really want to post it because you're like, I'm never going to post this kind of video. Like, nobody's gonna see this. What happened is I was on my shift that time, so I recorded myself. I just stand there wearing my scrubs with my badge that says RN in it, so which is registered nurse. And it got so busy, so I forgot that I recorded myself, and then I put it in my pocket. And you know when you put your phone in your pocket, sometimes it clicks whatever. It can call someone, it can text someone. It posted the video. And then the next day, my family, my mom, my nanay, told me, Anak, did you see your video on the internet? You went viral. And I have no idea what's viral. After 5 months, I decided to post this time, intended to post a video. And then it went viral again, like millions of views, millions of likes. And then I was like, maybe I'm funny. Maybe people think nakakatuwa ako. So I was like, you know what? Sige. Let me keep posting, and then the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth keeps going viral. So I was like, you know what? When I was looking for that community, I was giving that community to a lot of nurses around the world and to all my Pinoy nurses too who can relate. And they're like, hey John, maraming salamat for making this video because at least someone is understanding what we're going through as nurses, and that, it's not all happy-go-lucky times and we're struggling and we all need help too as nurses.
So now you embraced your celebrity status.
I think yes, that's where the point I am now, because the first 4 or 5 months of like being famous, whenever I'm outside going to, Asian supermarket or like Walmart or anything, people will recognize me. They're like, wait, you're that nurse from TikTok, right? And I'm like, oh yeah, that's me. I get super shy. And then sometimes I will go to a Filipino store near where I live, and they're like, Anak, I saw your video around social media. I'm super proud of you. Like, keep representing all the Pinoys. And I was like, yes, Nai. Because I keep calling everyone Nanay when I see them in the supermarket or everything. Yeah.
True. And it's very Pinoy, no? We call the elders, di ba, nanay or tita. That's a part of our culture. Eh.
Exactly. I got so used to it, and I feel so good calling them that way because I feel I give them the respect of like, being the nanay, being the tatay, ate, or kuya. It's really a good, good thing about our culture that I have in me.
How do you decide what to put in your content, focusing on the experience of nurses?
So whenever I put out content out there for people to watch about like my nursing journey, I want them to see the reality that nurses do face in the healthcare environment.
Sometimes it's your experience or experience to ng mga ibang co-workers mo.
I want to portray as much as possible lahat ng experience ng mga nurses around the world because our experience are all shared. It's the same thing everywhere around the world. How do I know this? It's because of the millions of people who message me almost every day telling me, oh my God, I'm from South Africa and we have the same thing and same situation. And I would never thought that you guys are going through the same thing. Or someone from Europe, someone from the Philippines, they're like, wow, I'm so like stoked and so shocked how we all have the same experience, even though we're all in different countries. So whenever I make videos, I make sure that I consider not only my experience, but everyone's experience so that everyone can relate to the video.
Do you engage with your followers? Or lalo
A
na
lot.
dun sa mga nagko-comment sa'yo?
A lot of times, yes. I think that's one thing I could never remove from me, even though like with like the millions of followers I still have now. I love engaging with all of my followers, replying to them, sending them message. And also it's hard for me not to reply to them because they would send me long message of like thanking me of like, making a difference in their lives every day. They're like, John, I just had the worst shift ever and your video lightened it up. You made me smile, you made me laugh, you let me forget a bit of like the stress that I'm going through. So thank you for that. And I can never just ignore that. And so I reply to them as much as I could.
Syempre kung meron mga good comments, sometimes meron ding mga bad comments, no?
Yes.
Minsan may mga bashers din, no? So, have you encountered bashers on social media and how do you handle it?
Hindi lahat ng tao will like what you do. And that exists in any type of way not everyone eats apple or not everyone eats oranges. And that's totally fine. For me, how I handle it is I just don't handle it at all. I leave the bad comments, the bashers alone and focus on the ones who actually love what I do.
Your content is mostly funny. But what do you want your followers or people to take away from your videos?
Ang gusto kong malaman ng mga followers ko is that, it's okay not to be okay. That your mental health is important over your job. Because one thing ang na-notice ko sa mga Filipino nurses is that we work so hard every day. We would work 7 out of 7 days every single time. Because I think, one thing I love about us Filipino nurses is that we would do anything for our family, for ourselves, to keep striving. But sometimes we don't realize that it affects us physically, mentally, and emotionally. You have to prioritize yourself over your job. Because your job doesn't really care about you, but you have to care about yourself so that, you cannot pour from an empty cup. That's what I always tell them. Normalize not feeling okay, normalize calling up sick, normalize that it's okay that you don't have to accept an overtime shift. That's what I want them to know.
Sakto yan, John, because May is Mental Health Month, and I think it's really important, to raise the awareness regarding this.
Those mental illness do exist, and it's okay to be that way. And the most important thing is that you recognize that you have this, you seek help, and you try to get better, but don't brush it off because it's your health, it's your life, and that's the most important thing.
Kapuso, subscribe to GMA Pinoy TV and feel closer to home with our all-time favorite shows. Itbulaga, Bubble Gang, 24 Oras, and Kapuso Mo Jessica Soho. You can also enjoy award-winning news programs, documentaries, lifestyle shows, and many more on GMA Live TV and GMA News TV. GMA channels are available in the U.S. through various pay TV providers. To know more, visit gmapinoytv.com/subscribe or follow us at GMA Pinoy TV on social media.
Nurse John shares how he has always dreamt about becoming a nurse and what it was like growing up in the Philippines with his mom working overseas. Have you always wanted to become a nurse?
Yes, and honestly, that's another good question because some of my Filipino followers are asking me, they're like, naging nurse ka ba, Nurse John? Because yung nanay at tatay mo, they force you to be one? Because it's so common in our
Yes.
community to be forced to be a nurse. But I told them, yes, I wanted to be a nurse. Not because somebody wants me to be a nurse, but because I wanted to be a nurse. And the reason for that is because my grandpa, my lolo, suffered from Alzheimer's disease and stage 4 lung cancer. And it was really tough as a young kid seeing my grandpa suffer. And he suffered in the Philippines. And you know how our healthcare there is not the best. And I cannot do anything for him. So I wanted to do something in my life where I can give back to somebody else, but I feel like I'm still taking care of my grandpa. And nursing was the only profession where I feel like I can go to sleep telling myself I'd help another person's life.
When you finished your degree, COVID-19 hit. What was it like for you? Especially since this is your first job.
I think sobrang excited ako na mag-work as a nurse that I didn't really think about maybe I should take a time off after nursing school na maybe magbakasyon muna ako or mag-travel or do something out of the nursing. Because what I did is literally after my graduation day, I started working as a nurse. Because the hospital that I was doing my training wanted me anyways na magtrabaho sa kanila. Sabi nila, we really like how you work, we really like how you do things, so do you want to work with us? So I accepted that because it's an opportunity, so I had to grab it. But I didn't know that they want me to work right after I finished my graduation. So it was really hard for me. Like I said, it was like I'm blind walking. Because I didn't know what's happening. First of all, there's a lot of things na kailangan mong i-learn as a new nurse. And now, mas nakakatakot because it's all, you don't have a teacher with you. Now you have like lives in your hands and you're the only one responsible for that. So imagine ganun kadami yung like 5, 6, 7, 8 people in your hands by yourself. Plus the fact that there's a pressure about COVID, regulation, changes. So really, it was a lot of like anxiety and like asking myself, can I really be a nurse? Kaya ko ba talaga to gawin? Or kaya ko ba talaga maging nurse?
What is the hardest part about being a nurse?
I think the hardest part about being a nurse is the ever-changing environment every single day because you never know what you're gonna get. And that comes with nursing anyways. So the emotional fatigue too, because you're not only physically fatigued, but you're emotionally drained because like I said, like many nurses are quitting the profession, not only, you know, in the Western, like not only United States and Canada, but everywhere in the world because they're all tired. And us new nurses have to handle more than what we could take in our hands. Like safely, you can only take care of 4 patients, but now we're given like 6, 7, 8, 10 patients. And I think that's the hardest part of it.
How did you manage to keep it all together? Since you were so busy taking care of other people, how did you take care of yourself?
A lot of prayers, a lot of crying, a lot of calling for my grandpa. I was like, Lolo, if this was really made for me, I was like, give me signs, give me things to keep going. And it was really hard for me. What I was just thinking is the lives that I was changing every day. Because also my patients, really the patient that matters to me the most, you know, like pag nagpupunta ako sa mga room nila and they're gonna tell me, John, you've really changed my life. You've made a difference in my life. I would never forget you. That makes me feel so good about the job that I'm doing. That even though I am so tired, but then I receive all of this, you know, comments and letters from people that I've taken care of, makes me feel so happy.
And you know, that's a Filipino trait eh. Patients feel that you actually care for them.
And I've been telling that to all my Filipino nurses because I was just in a conference like a week ago with 4,000 nurses and there's so many Filipinos in there. And I keep telling them, listen, Filipino nurses are the best nurses because we go over what we can to provide care to our patients. And we actually care. And what I always tell people is that, you know, Filipino nurses knows the struggle. So then they would not let somebody else have that same struggle because they care so much. And that's one thing I love about being a Filipino, is that we care.
Do you have family with you in Canada, or do you live alone?
Yes. Yes, I have my family with me. My mom lives across the street from me, and I don't really have my dad with me. But my grandma, my Lola, she comes here to Canada every summertime, so between June to December, because ayaw niya ng malamig. So she wants to stay out of the winter times, but every June to December she would come visit here, and I give her everything that I could to make her happy because she took care of me when my mom was working overseas.
When and why did you move to Canada?
So I moved in Canada in September 2012, and the reason why I moved here in Canada is because my mom wanted to give me a better life. Well, first of all, she's a single mother, so she has to strive much harder than everyone else so that she can provide a better life in me. I grew up with my lolo and my lola, which I would never regret because they taught me everything that I have right now. They taught me how to clean, to cook, to do construction, all of that. They showed me everything. To drive a tricycle, they taught me all of that. I know. And I'm so happy and I'm so grateful because, being here in Canada sometimes it makes you ungrateful of the things you have. But then coming from a country life in the Philippines, we're from Bulacan. So we're really like in the countryside, coming in from like a very poor life. I know and understand how it is. My mom had to work overseas. She worked in Hong Kong, Taiwan, and then she moved to Canada. And then she's like, maybe I should just get you here and we can live here together.
What was your mom's job while she was working in Hong Kong?
She was a caregiver. So I think that's also one thing that made me wanted to become a nurse. It's because all of the jobs that she's taken, they don't want to give her up because they love her. They love how she does things. She always works for her family, and all the families will do anything to keep her.
How was it like growing up with your mom working overseas?
It was hard because, first of all, having a single parent, and again, that single parent is not present because she has to work so that she can provide for me, was hard. It's harder because when I went to elementary and high school, we would have those family day in the Philippines, and they would ask us to bring, your mom and your dad, and I would only have my tito or my tita who would come with me. And I feel like, hey, I wish I have my dad or my mom with me, but I don't. But it made me realize that she's doing this really for me. And, if she can stay with me, she would, but she has to work so that she can give me the best life that she could possibly ever give me. And at first, it was just sending letters. So I would receive it. It's so late though. Like she would write it in June and I would receive it in October. And then Yahoo existed. So we were able to do, video call. MySpace and Friendster existed, and all of those stuff. She tried her
At
best.
least, oo, nagsisimula na.
Exactly. She tried her best to communicate with me and to really, still be present in every time and every single month for me.
But even if your mom was far away from you, you grew up surrounded by love from your relatives.
Oh my God, yes. My mom's brothers and sister treated me like their own kid. And we live in a compound. You know how it is in the Filipino. Your auntie lives next to you, your tito lives next to you, everyone lives next to you. And they would always bring me to every single thing. So I never felt alone. That's something I really miss, living in the Philippines because life was simpler. Life was so much better.
Do you still get in touch with them?
Absolutely. Every week I would call them. They would call me. I do send them money because I was like, hey guys, this is like a sign of like a thank you for me because I have to give back to you guys because you've taken care of me. So it's not much of a money, but I still send them money because I feel like it's a sign of respect for me to just, give them something back.
Bless you. Bless your heart, John.
I really owe everything that I am right now to my whole family in the Philippines because I would never be the way I am without them. And, as thankful as I am to them, I will do as much as I could to, to keep them happy too back there.
Mga global Pinoy subscribers ng GMA Pinoy TV sa US, Canada, Singapore at Hong Kong. You can now watch Kapuso shows on the go. Just download the mobile app of your pay TV provider and enjoy TV everywhere. In the US via Xfinity Stream, Spectrum TV app, Cox Contour app, and Optimum TV app. In Canada via Bell 5 TV, Rogers Ignite TV, and TELUS Optic TV. In Singapore via StarHub TV Plus, and in Hong Kong via the Now TV app. TV everywhere is available to existing GMA subscribers only. Contact your pay TV provider or visit gmapinoytv.com/subscribe to learn more.
Did you know that aside from Filipino and English, Nurse John can also speak French? He also has plans to visit the Philippines next year to see his family. John, you live in Montreal now, right?
That's right. Montreal, Quebec, yes.
Okay, and you speak French to your patients?
Yes, I do speak French to my patient because it's a bilingual province, but mostly they want us to speak French to our patients because that's the law. They force you to go to French school so that you can learn French because otherwise you cannot really communicate with anyone without learning French because everyone here speaks French. So you have to learn French as another language for you to be able to work and communicate. Dahil hindi ka rin makakapag-strive dito to, stay as a resident if you cannot understand French.
Can you greet our global Pinoys in French?
Okay. Salut à tout le monde à Global Pinoy. Je suis infirmier Nurse John. Je suis tellement content pour votre support et votre aime pour toutes mes vidéos et merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup.
I just said hello to the global Pinoys around the world and thank you guys for your support, the love that you guys showed to my videos.
What do you miss most about the Philippines?
The simple life. Because we have our own farm in the Philippines. We have baboy, manok. We have everything there. Everything is fresh. Nothing is frozen. We get everything fresh. And it's a simpler life in the Philippines. And I think that's something that I really miss. That I just wake up and I see my whole family. We eat in banana leaves, karaoke, all of those things. I just miss that so much because now in the Western world, you have to keep working every single day because you have bills to pay, you have jobs to keep, you have mouths to feed. But, in the Philippines, it's not like that.
When was the last time you came home for a visit?
Oh my God, it was 2018. And I'm planning to actually visit next year, January, because I really miss my whole family. I'm homesick.
But now you have your mom, so both of you are gonna come home, or it's just gonna be you?
Both of us are gonna come home. We're not gonna be going home together probably, but it depends on my schedule when I'm gonna be able to come home. But we're gonna be meeting each other at the same time in the Philippines, and I really just want to spend time with all of my family in there.
So mom right now, is she still working?
She's still working like real Filipino woman. 7 times a week, and I keep telling her, listen, you can work for me, mom. I don't want you to keep working, but she just
7 times a week?
Yes. Listen, I
Wow.
talked to her. I was like, Ma, hindi mo na kailangan magtrabaho like you used to before. But she's like, anak, I cannot just sit here and watch every day. She's like, I have to work, anak. And I was like, you know what, Ma, I cannot stop you. You're stubborn like that. Do what you want. Do what makes you happy.
How old is Nanay now?
She's 51 now.
Oh, but she's young. She's young. Yeah. So, yeah.
I know. She's like, oh my God. She can be 61 or 71. She's going to be like, I'm too young, anak. I cannot stop working.
And lastly, John, What is your message to fellow nurses around the world, especially now that May is National Nurses Month?
I want you guys to know that you are doing your absolute best every single day. I want you all to prioritize your mental health over your job, because your job needs you more than you need this job. And that your mental health, your physical health, and your emotional health goes first, because you can never pour from an empty cup. Fill your cup to the brim until you're happy, you're satisfied, so that you can give more, because you cannot keep giving something that you don't have within yourself.
Thank you, John, and thank you for sharing your time with us. May you continue to bring joy and inspiration to Filipino nurses all over the world and to all those who are following you on social media.
Thank you so much, Tony. I appreciate this, and thank you. And yes, I will continue doing this as long as I can make someone happy, one Nurse John video at a time. I will keep doing it. Salamat.
Salamat! Mabuhay ka, Nurse John! Stronger Together, the GMA Pinoy TV podcast, is an original production of GMA International. This episode is produced by Gerald Vista and edited by Anton Taguinon.